Hello, this is Soundout here, and welcome back to another Bionicle review. Today we'll be taking a look at the Bionicle 2007 Toa Mahri. Now, this is one of my favorite sets of Toa of all time, and I was really glad to see several people request it on the last review. If you don't remember, on my last review of Makuta Ikarax, I asked, hey, what would you guys like me to review? And unfortunately, I had to say no to several of those requests, as I don't own those sets. But I did own the Toa Mahri, and I got several requests for them, so I decided, how about I review these guys now? Because these are some of the coolest Toa. I'm going to do all six in one video, just briefly going over them. I'm not going to do super in-depth things, just because the sake of time. And these are older sets, I don't want to mess with them too much, especially her and her green pieces. None of them have cracked yet. One of them will crack probably while I'm recording this video, just knowing my luck. But here we have the Toa Mahri, which are the Toa Inika that have been adapted for underwater voyages to Mahri Nui, where they're chasing the Mask of Life. And it is the final chapter in the Inika storyline, where this is the second form of this batch of Toa, and it's their last. And overall, they have different unique builds. They're not just the Inika build redone. The Inika line, they're all pretty much the same, minus their weapons and a few pieces here and there, but they're mostly the same. Here, they are vastly different and have different weapons, armor, and skills to adapt to the new environment. Plus, you gotta admit that the best Bionicle commercial of all time is the Mahri's short movie. So, here we go. We'll start with Hahli. As she crashed into the earth, here is Toa Mahri Hahli. Now, Hahli here was one of the original Matoran featured in the 2001 through 2003 storyline, and she was a prominent character in the Mask of Light. And here she is in her second form as a Toa. And I gotta say, this is probably one of the coolest sets. The thing we do need to worry about is the green pieces. The green pieces on all 2007 sets, whether it be Lezovic or Alek or Hahli here, we have issues. Everyone that has had these pieces, eventually they do crack. It was an issue that was created that year, and you can see the joints squeak when I move them, so I'm not going to move them too much. But I will say she has a ball joint at her head, her shoulders, elbows, wrists, hips, knees, ankles. So it is quite of a range of movement. She also has her wings here, which dramatically folded out when the song kicked into high gear. And as you can see, they look really nice. They're new pieces from what I can tell, and they're all really cool. What's also neat is the breathing apparatuses on each of the Toa. They all have these cords that look like they are meant for breathing. So you have the masks, plus the masks have eye shields. So that's really neat. That does not mean the mask can't come off. It does remove. It just takes a little bit more work. And now we get to the Kordak Blaster. Now the Kordak Blaster here is the launcher for 2007's Toa. The Baraki had squid launchers, and the Toa had the Kordak blasters. Now these things are cool. They're just six-barreled guns, much like the new blasters for the Protectors in Bionicle 2015. But basically, you push this really hard, and it shoots out these little missiles. And if you don't do it hard enough, it just kind of pops out. But basically, the idea is that it is air-powered missile launching, and you can launch all six out. And I don't want to lose these because I haven't lost any yet. And you can see that they just, it spins when you push it, and if you don't push it hard enough, nothing pops out. But you got to give it a good push to get it to launch. So that's really neat. It's actually one of the best launchers in my opinion. I like it better than Zamor Spheres or, well, I guess the Midax Sky Blasters are pretty neat too. But you do have these, which is neat. So, anyways, each of the Toa have one, and they also get some extra ammo that does plug in, so you get 3 extra bullets on her back. So overall, Hahli is quite awesome. Oh, I completely neglected to mention her triple-bladed claw. I think it's just cool. Here we have Huki. Now, Huki was one of the major characters in the Mat Nui online game, so it's really cool he got to become a Toa. And as you can see, he does have a Kordak blaster built into his arm. He's got 4 extra bullets here on either arm, and he's got a nice breathing apparatus that plugs into his mask. Or does it? Actually, it's more like a scuba piece. This plugs into his mouth area, and this part's the mask, which is connected through a paraca system with a pin. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. These guys don't have easily removed masks, but it does look really nice. As you can see, he's got twin blades up on his shoulders, plus he's got another one in the staff here, and he's got all these chains. I think the chains are cool. They had these on Inika Huki as well, so that's really neat that there's chains. I kind of like that look to the figure. Articulation-wise, it's the same as Hahli. Nothing's restricted, really. He's just a little shorter, which is kind of interesting. His arms are super long, though. But yeah, you can see that Huki is quite awesome. Here we have Nuparu. Now, Nuparu was one of the major characters in early Bionicle as well, and he's quite awesome as a Toa. I liked his Inika version a little bit more, but you can see he's got extra bullets here, Kordak blaster as usual, but he's got this nice shield. It's actually two different pieces that can be split up, and I think it is a neat thing to have a cool shield that does look like a bladed weapon. It helps him block for things while he's shooting with his Kordak blaster. I also really dig his mask. It's got this nice breathing apparatus look to it, and it's also silver, which is a nice color. You can see that plugs through his back, and on his back even, he has two little breathing tube things, which is really a neat little detail. Other than that, he has the standard Inika build torso piece, so he is a little bland otherwise, but I gotta say, I do like what new parts are on him. Here is Kongu. Now, as a kid, I was like, you know what, Kongu's pretty sweet. He's the awesome badass that picks up two Kordak blasters and says, yeah, I'm ready to go. I don't know, it's just kind of weird, him being the only one without a personalized weapon. He just is, you know, Kongu, but he's got two big blasters, which are fun. I'll admit that. And he's got 4 extra bullets, which is nice. But he also has a breathing thing back here, similar to Nuparu. That does connect to his whole mask design, which is pretty neat. And he is a little bit stumpier. He used to be the really tall one in the Inika line, and now he's kind of small, and has Rakshi feet. Overall, same articulation. Kongu's pretty neat, but just kind of loses some uniqueness because he doesn't have his own specified weapon. Here is Jaller. Now, Jaller was the Herald of the Mask of Light, and now he gets to be his own Toa of Fire. This is one of my favorites of this set, and that is because of his uniqueness. He's got a cool sword that would be later reused several times. I love the tubes running through his chest up into his mask. It's really, really cool. He doesn't have any parts that seem like they're going to break. His mask design is neat, and his Kordak blaster is attached to a crab. He's got a crab creature here. I knocked off one of these little talons, unfortunately, so I'll need to replace that. But you can see they took original Onuamada's claws and used them as feet, which is pretty neat. And the Kordak blaster is articulated, and he's got the thing on a chain here. Now, the animation had this thing stored on his back, and it never really deployed as a crab, which kind of is more effective. But as a set, it's got a neat little play function, with him having his little crab friend carrying around his blaster. Other than that, same articulation as usual. That's pretty much Jaller. I saved the best for last, and here's Matoro. Now, character-wise, Matoro was the standout of 2007, as he had a lot of great moments talking to Maxilos, finding out who Maxilos was, and then his big tragic moment at the end. And it's really, he had a great character arc throughout the whole Bionicle story, and it's really neat to see him have his finale moment. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but it is great. Now, as you can see, he does have a Kordak blaster that is hooked up to a bunch of cords all throughout his back, which is really neat. He does the inner body tube, just like Jaller. He has a foot here attached, and he's got Mata feet, which is pretty neat. And he's got a double-bladed claw, which is pretty cool, and good for grabbing the Mask of Light when Jaller throws it up to him. So, yeah, Matoro's pretty awesome. I like the sunk-in head look, which is unique, to say the least. And I like the asymmetricalness with his arms, with this being a longer piece than that one. So, really cool overall. I do think Matoro is probably the best of the Mahri. It breaks away from the Inika build so much, and I really do think it's one of his highlights. And that's the Toa Mahri. So overall, I definitely recommend the Toa Mahri. They are newer sets, being released in 2007, so they might be a little bit easier to find than, say, 2004, 2003. But if you can find them, they're for a good price. They're definitely worth it. I would highly recommend all of them. But be careful when looking for Hahli, as their green parts are problematic. But she did survive this review, so that's a good thing. And I gotta say, this is probably one of my favorite sets of Toa, if not my favorite. So if you guys like to see me review more Bionicle, let me know in the comments below. Request something, I'll let you know if I have it or not. I have a good majority of Bionicle sets, so most likely if you request something, I might probably have it. I have almost all the canister sets from all the years, so that gives you a little bit more of a narrowed focus. Let me know as well if you like the review format of let's do a group together, or if you like the more individualized, specialized look at a specific set. Also be sure to subscribe to Soundout 12, as I post 3 videos a week. Model kits on Monday, Soundout's Toy Chest, the Mystery Review series, on Thursday, and Soundout Review on Saturday, where you'll find more Bionicle reviews. Also be sure to check out my Bionicle 2015 reviews. I did a whole week of videos for those, and like I said, Makuta Icarax from a couple weeks ago, also available on my channel. So check those out, and be sure to check out HeroTaku.com for all your Bionicle news and more. It's only a matter of time before the 2015 Summer Wave comes out. So, till next time, this is Soundout saying goodbye.